Alright, what's up guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. I'm here with part 2 of yesterday's story time. If you haven't seen part 1 of this story, I will link it, first link in the description. Watch that part first if you haven't seen it already, and you'll understand this story time a little bit more. But this story time takes place 2 weeks after the previous story time. So about 3 years back, I'm hanging out in my room, just playing some Call of Duty on my Xbox with some friends, and I was online with them, so I was alone in my room. And I heard this strange sound outside my house. And I had already been on guard, like just super nervous because of what went down 2 weeks prior to this. So I heard this noise. It sounded like a weird banging sound and then like footsteps running. So I was like, all right, what the fuck? So I quickly run over to my window and I peek through the blinds and I just see a car drive off. And it was so dark out and it didn't look like the car that I had saw previously. Like it didn't look like his car. So I was like, all right, what the fuck? Like who was that? Why were they outside my house? So I quickly grabbed my shoes, put them on, and I run outside. Because I just knew something was done to my house. I'm like, they fucked with my house somehow, whoever that was. So I run outside and I turn around and I look at my house. And sure enough, the whole thing covered in toilet paper. And I'm thinking to myself, like, really? That's the best you got? You're going to TP my house? Like, that's what he meant by he was going to get me back? So, yeah, he TP'd my house, him and his friends, I'm guessing, because there was a lot of toilet paper. I still don't know what the banging sound was that I heard, because it was definitely pretty loud. It didn't sound like toilet paper hitting my house. It sounded like something else. So I don't know what that was, but I'm glad that I heard it, and I got out there when I did. So I cleaned up as much as I could, got most of it down, which took like an hour. And all I could think to myself, like, was really, like, TPing my house? What are we, in 5th grade? So I go inside, I get back on Xbox, I'm talking to my friends, telling them about what happened, and they're all laughing, like, just, like, saying how crazy it is. And I get a text on my phone, like, 30 minutes later, from a random number, and it's just a photo of a toilet paper roll. And I was like, okay, so this is obviously who did it. So I copy the number and I send it to my friend Stacy, the one that was dating him, you know, the one that he was stalking. And I was like, is this your ex-boyfriend's number? And she's like, yeah. I was like, okay, thanks, because he just TP'd my house, and this proves it. And she's like, holy shit, did he really? I was like, yeah, I guess this is his idea of revenge. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sorry. I was like, no, it's not your fault. Don't worry. I got a plan. And she's like, what is it? I was like, I'll tell you later. Now, deep down, I didn't have a plan. I just wanted to look badass and look cool. I didn't have any fucking plan. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I had to do something, because he TP'd my fucking house. Like, come on, man. This was the house I grew up in that he TP'd. Like, my mom lived there, and my brothers. Like, he disrespected my family by doing that. So I was pissed. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to figure something out. So it took me a couple days of thinking, but I finally found out what I wanted to do to get him back. So I got his mom's phone number from my friend Stacy, and I call his mom. I'm like, hey, this is Austin. I met you a couple weeks ago. I was with Stacy. I'm her friend. Basically, your son was mad at me for being with her that night and just hanging out with her, and he decided to TP my house. He vandalized my house with a bunch of toilet paper. And he told me the night of me being at your house that he was going to get me back. So I'm guessing this is what he meant. So I talked to her a little bit about it. She kept saying sorry. And it wasn't her fault. And I didn't even care that much. Like, he threw toilet paper at my house. Whatever. Big deal. That didn't really do that much. It kind of just embarrassed me because a few cars drove by and probably saw it. But I didn't really care that much about that. But I proposed an idea to her. I was like, look, I know this is kind of a long shot and you'll probably say no, which is totally fine. But I came up with a funny plan to kind of get your son back, and it wouldn't hurt him or anything. It'd just be a funny prank. Would it be okay if I put something or painted something on the side or the front of your car, the one that he drives to work and to college, like something super embarrassing on the car, so when he drives it around, he's just super embarrassed, and it'd be really funny. I will pay for any repainting or anything that needs to be done to remove it. And she was like, yeah, I mean, sure, as long as it's something super offensive. I was like, perfect. So at this point, I'm fucking lost for words because I thought she was going to say no. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, she's actually on board with this. She wants to fuck with her son with me. I'm so down for this. This is the best day of my life. So me and my friend link up and we drive down to a sex shop and we buy a giant dildo. And wow, now that that just left my mouth, I realized that we probably looked like lovers at that shop. We literally walked in, me and my homie, and he and me picked out a dildo together for a prank. And the owners probably thought we were together. Okay, well, just realized that. That's cool. So since it wasn't my first time pulling this prank, I decided to go a little bit higher with it. And I went to an arts and crafts store and I bought really strong super glue and then paint markers. Because I've pulled that prank before, and usually I use like peanut butter to stick it on the car or, like something that's non-permanent stick solution. But this time I went for some crazy super glue. And I texted his mom. I was like, hey, we got all the supplies. Let me know whenever it's a good time to come through. And she's like, yeah, he's taking a nap before work if you want to come over now and do it. And I was like, perfect. So we pulled up to his house. I called his mom. She came out with his dad and helped us do it. And she was like, this is so inappropriate, and I'm such a bad mom for this, but, like, it's so funny. And his dad was just laughing the whole time. And I just started laughing my ass off because, like, they were really, like, the best parents ever. And his dad literally helped me draw a giant dick on the side of the car. And at this point, I'm like, all right, maybe we should stop because it's going to cost me a lot of money to get this repainted. And she goes, oh, no, honey, don't even worry about it. And I was like, what? And she goes, no, we were planning on getting rid of this car anyway. To which I start laughing. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, his birthday's in a couple of weeks. We're going to surprise him with a little bit of a newer one. And I was like, awesome. So this is a good prank. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, what day is his birthday? And she told me, and it was like exactly 2 weeks away. And I'm like, awesome. Which means he would have to drive this car that we created for 2 weeks. And we got finished up. There were 2 drawn penises on it and a super glued dildo on the hood. And they went upstairs and woke him up. He came downstairs to me and my friend and his parents standing there going, surprise! And he just goes, what the fuck? I have to go to work. And we all start laughing. And his dad goes, you shouldn't have TP'd Austin's house. He called us in for backup. And he's just like, dude, seriously? And I'm just like, this is the best day ever. He then proceeds to walk over to his car, grab the dildo with both hands, and start ripping as hard as he can. To which we all start fucking laughing so hard because it literally looks like he's giving it a hand job. His own parents were fucking in tears over this. And I'm just like, this is amazing. And he goes, get it off, Mom, get it off. And she goes, no, you got to learn your lesson. You can't vandalize people's houses when you're mad at them. And he's like, whatever, fuck this. And he pulls out a pocket knife from his back pocket and starts cutting away at the dick. And he got it off, but he couldn't get off the paint on his car. And he just peeled off and drove to work. Now, the best part about it is he worked at like a construction job. And my friend worked at the same job. Not the one that I was with in the story, but a different friend. And I knew some of the people that worked there. And like they were really like just masculine, stereotypical dudes. So I knew they were going to roast the shit out of him when he pulled up with 2 penises drawn on his car and a half-ripped dildo. So that was pretty fucking funny. So after he left, his parents invited me in for cookies, which I was about. And me and my friend went in. We hung out with them, talked for like 30 minutes, talked about his previous relationship with my friend Stacy. They ended up showing me the car they were going to get him. They were getting him a pretty nice car. So, you know, in general, I would be pretty fucking happy if I was him because, yeah, you have to drive around a stupid car for a couple of weeks. But guess what? You're getting a fucking brand new one in 2 weeks. He didn't know that at the time, but that's what made it funnier. So later that night, he called me unrestricted, and I answered. I'm like, hello. And he goes, don't ever come to my house again. And I was like, dude, your parents are cool as shit. We're going to be hanging out often. And I just said that to piss him off. Obviously, I wasn't telling the truth, but I just wanted to make him mad. And he goes, no, you won't. And he hung up. And that was the last I heard from him. But I had friends that went to his school at college, and they were texting me every day, being like, bro, I wish you could be here to see this. Like, he just pulled up, him parking that car and walking inside. It's the funniest thing ever. He looks so angry. And I was like, perfect. Now, in the end, we had some back and forth, harmless fun. I would say that I won in the prank war, but we actually became friends out of this. I'm actually friends with this dude to this day. Not very close friends, but like we're cool now. It was a good way to know each other, you know? Like explaining that to people was pretty funny. Like, yeah, I met him because he was kind of being weird towards one of my friends. Then he TP'd my house. Then I super glued a dildo and painted dicks on his car with his family. So, you know, pretty interesting story. I don't know what's funnier, the prank itself or the fact that I've done the prank like 5 different times. Actually, this was kind of the start of me doing it to an even more crazy extent, because if you've been watching this channel for a long time, I had a thief. I told a story time about a thief one time, and I got revenge on him kind of in the same way, only a lot less funny, but with way more inappropriate toys on his car. Basically, I've used this method as revenge a few different times, and I've told 2 of the story times of it now. I just personally think this is one of my best prank story times because I had his parents in on it helping me, which made it that much more funnier. And I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. I'll leave a link to the description of the other ones if you want to watch those, and I'll leave a link to part 1 as well. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this story time, leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Leave your guys' stories in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
It's getting serious, make a bitch delirious. Bitches on my dick, cause a boy so mysterious. That's a mystery, thoughts making history. Wrist keeps spinning like a fucking rotisserie. Got my wrist whipping, looking like a chef. Oregano back, got the kitchen out.